You know what I find extremely funny? Music that just outright just sucks. Because this year we've had a lot of that because nobody knows. Nobody understands what music is anymore, and we're all slowly losing it because this year so far has been probably one of the worst years for music ever. Even at the start of 2023, I had a little bit of hope. This year I have none because several bad projects already dropped. I wanted to go over the ones that I sort of looked at in January. Obviously in January there's basically none, like no albums. There are no albums in January, mainly because nobody's got that creative spark yet for the new year. Nobody really knows what the new Taylor Swift album is going to sound like so that Lewis Capaldi can go rip it off. It very much just, yeah. So this was the first release of 2024 that I actually saw on Spotify, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a listen, and it was okay. I quite liked it. There was a lot of things that could have been better. It could have been less boring, but it was over in pretty much like 20 minutes. Another one is INSANO by Kid Cudi. A lot of people seem to hate my opinion on this album, mainly because it is so fucking boring. It's so bad as well, just in like the outright sense of it being bad. I think the song that I hated the actual most is probably between Electrowave Baby and X and Cud here. Mainly just because X and Cud, as you know, XXXTentacion was he just it wasn't anywhere to do with the project. This project wasn't made when he was alive. It wasn't even conceived of, and pretty much it made me feel like I've lost hope for Pharrell Williams, who is actually featured pretty much out like through and through this entire album, and there's only one song on here that deserves even the slightest amount of praise, which is Blue Sky. I didn't totally hate it, and yeah, I am not a fan of this album. There's a lot of things on it that make you just kind of feel like, yeah, this is going on a bit too long. And even though I said, hey, it's going on a bit too long, he decided to release a deluxe edition, or whatever he's calling it, later on in the year, which I don't think anybody's looking forward to. An album that I listened to on January 26th was Benny the Butcher's Everybody Can't Go. Alright, I was actually really looking forward to this. I'd only heard about it at the start of the year. I was pretty pumped for it, and there was only about a one to two song difference between me liking the album and absolutely hating it. And it seems very boring as well. It feels like this album is Benny the Butcher's and Then You Pray For Me. It doesn't really make any cordial sense for me to like give this a good review and all that. And you know, it has a good review because it is a pretty well, you know, it's a pretty good Griselda album. But God, I really can't be bothered. Like, if you made me listen to this again, I'd probably be a little bit upset. But I would listen to it. Not much can be said for this next album though. All Is Yellow by Lyrical Lemonade. As you know, Cole Bennett. This album is chock full of features of people that don't want to be there. And you can tell that throughout the music. One of my least favorite songs of all time, yeah, it might literally be track 12, Hello There, and it is 3 minutes and 14 seconds of torture. And you know, you go into it and you think it might be okay. However, I actually didn't totally like it. As soon as I sort of turned it on, I kind of went, oh no, that's a little bit bad. As I give it a 5, the first song of 5, and apparently everybody thought, oh, it's a 7. It's a 7.5 out of 10. I think the only song that I can actually grasp as coherent on this is probably Doomsday. Doomsday Part 2 just feels like Eminem doing his thing and then just going. And there's nothing special on it. There's nothing interesting on it. Although I can say that I'm glad that Doomsday Part 2 is not a part of Doomsday Part 1. Because I think that song would have been ruined by Eminem's presence on it. It is really that bad. And I don't know how to explain it, but it is really that bad. What is another album that I listened to in January? Well, it was 21 Savage's American Dream. And you might see that I listened to this pretty much on the same week that INSANO dropped, and they dropped on the same day. And this one is so much better, it's not even funny, as you can see from my little review there. I really did like the sort of it feels very passionate, like as in it feels like 21 Savage isn't just giving up, and this is what he's done for a very long time, so I feel almost inclined to say that yeah, this album is pretty good. It's not bad. I've heard some songs from it once in a while, and I think that's the benefit of having such a big album be a pretty big smash hit, is that you hear it everywhere and you don't mind it. So yeah, I think, however though, I will sort of jump into the February version of these albums here, which are the nightcore, the sped up, and the slowed down version of American Dream, right? And you can see that I have listened to all of these, and I have given them all zeros. So you might think, was that a waste of time? No, because it made me come to a conclusion that I never thought I'd come to in my life. The nightcore version is slower than, well, more or less, it's slower than the sped up version, but then the slowed down version is also pitched up slightly. I don't know how to properly exonerate what I mean, but I can't believe this, right? And you might think, oh, you see that comment there? They DDG'd, bro, right? This guy's on the same label as DDG. I'm not even kidding. May I add, also on the same label as Andre 3000's album, but I don't think oh yes, of course, classics like Elevation, God Did. There's a lot of different things here that do make you kind of feel like, God, doesn't everything just feel dumb and like just totally just numb these days? Everything just feels like absolute fuck. I can't even explain why everything feels like this now, because everything to do with music is all this, just red tracks, right? I didn't think that American Dream was bad, but then I listened to the sped up, slowed down, and whatever version, and I was like, I wonder whether that filled his Spotify catalog, and it did. So now there are 4 albums that have just released this year on 21 Savage's account, right? You couldn't, just publish them just on TikTok. No, they had to make it everybody else's problem by, like, right, alright, let me get the scenario into your head. You get into 21 Savage, like, really get into 21 Savage. You click shuffle on 21 Savage's Spotify profile, then you're greeted with not only slowed down versions and sped up versions, but also nightcore versions as well, of the same album that you probably already listened to. Nobody's gonna go, oh, I prefer the slowed down version to the sped up version. Of course I'm not gonna talk about the nightcore. Nobody cares that much that this is something that we all have to agree with. And I won't be surprised if 21 Savage's label that he's signed to is going to drop physical versions of the nightcore sped up and slowed down versions. And I have a good idea of how they should do that. They shouldn't give anybody some indication on whether it's the slowed down, sped up, or nightcore version. Just with a tiny sticker, alright? And it says it might say SU or SD or a nightcore NC. Not from North Carolina, it's the nightcore version. You might be thinking, what about this one here? Well, it's a reissue. I don't really count it as a different album. It is a reissue, a deluxe edition, and I do like how the deluxe editions actually have a little bit something extra to them. I'm noticing Kid Cudi do this. I'm noticing, I think it was Caroline Polachek do this. It's a very interesting thing, and I actually rather would listen to an album if it didn't say deluxe edition on it. And it also had a different cover, which they didn't do for the 21 Savage's 3 different albums, which I thought was pretty funny. So you'll never know whether it's the slowed down, sped up, or nightcore version. Of course, I wanted to at least give you guys a good earful of the Holy Grail that I stumbled upon about a year ago, when my friend Ryan decided to put me on a certain person that I had heard about before, a certain hive mind guest, Quadeca. And I didn't totally believe him when I heard that Quadeca would be releasing a pretty good album. I didn't believe him because I just didn't. Of course, this is the album that I ended up listening to. I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, as in November of 2022 he released probably one of my favorite little projects, little art pop project there, and I actually really like it. I really do. It's really something that I don't come back to it, but I really do like it. It is pretty damn great. And of course that actually carries on with Scrapyard. As you can see here, even if I don't go listen to it again, I still really enjoyed this album. It is really something that I actually care about quite a lot, especially when this is probably my album of the year so far. So as of February 2024, Quadeca Scrapyard is my album of the year. And it's fantastic. I really do like it. Let me pull up some track reviews here that I decided to give it. I really do like it. It is really something that I do actually take for granted about how certain musicians can just switch up like that and they make something that's amazing and sort of thorough, like Quadeca Scrapyard. So yeah, what a great album. That's probably an album that I'll take away from, that you should take away from this, is that Quadeca Scrapyard is really good. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little thorough run through of this year so far, and yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully in March. I'll probably forget, but in March we'll make another one. Bye.